Okay, I just realized for thet, let's load it. They saved it onto the Zirconzan PC, which is great. So Modelier. Now we're going to go to, yep, thet 1Y. I'm going to go to lower jaw, then lower jaw scan body, that one. Then gingiva, I just press escape. Then upper jaw. Okay, so for thet, orientation need to look directly down the implant. This one is Straumann, bone level, Titan face parallel. We're going to use the L20, and then the scan marker is L12 because that's what you determine looking at the X-ray. This is might be a little bit tricky. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Yep. Best fit. Always click best fit, then press next. Then we press no. Okay, margin is always ignore, so just leave as is, just press next. And now we position the tooth. That's pretty good. I will just change, click on advanced placement correction, then click here, and we're going to change to ADA library. Press yes, disregard, and it actually is a lot worse. Positioning. Control middle click to get rid of the upper. Move it in position. I'm gonna, width is control shift, and then I'm gonna actually, yeah, so the thickness needs to come right down. Okay, good. And that can be a little higher than it needs to be, but that's fine. Then we press next. Now, emergence profile is always, yeah, this is the emergence profile here. Just press next, ignore this. Good. Now, at this point, we click here and we need to open the articulator. So, this is what we used to do in, we need to show all the parts. An entire jaw. This is what we used to do in scan, but and now we can show the frontal plane as well, and then control left click to arrange it so that it, and then we click here. Sometimes it's a little buggy, like now. So we're in here, oh, that's why it didn't work. Yeah, it was calling on WhatsApp there. See, this is, this is sometimes a little bit frustrating. I'm going to move this back, probably too far. Let's have a look from the front. Okay. it's not perfect, but that will be okay. Need to open the articulator function, movements, articulator movements. Why isn't it showing? It should be showing up here. Movements, no. Movements. No. Why did you know? Yeah, it's hard. It's actually quite hard because it's all right. There we go. I would say that's close enough. Now we press OK. Oh yeah, it brings up the articulator now. Fix away by cutting away intrusions always, and then now 6. You notice 6. 30, 40, 30, 6. Start movement simulation. And then, good. Now we go back to the wizard. And then if we, the first thing we do is actually add in the central fossa, because what that does is it makes the tooth less peaky. And then we're going to go, it's still too peaky, I don't want to cut it right down yet, but you can see I can bring the cusps down. And then we use the antagonist. Dynamic, the rule is always 0.15. We're always, not super happy with the scan that Trios, the occlusion that Trios gives us, but you can see now we cut away, there should be no occlusion. Now what I do is I actually also smooth all around these areas, and that looks a little bit peaky, but see, this is really hard to do, but that looks a little bit better. You'll learn to use these different settings. Okay, so cusps, you can bring that down, cusps, oops. Bring that down, you want it sort of even, right? Okay, that's looking like a really nice crown because it's flat across the top. Now the only thing before I want to adjust the ridge and pull the ridge, yeah, can you see that? I'm pulling the ridge into the 7. Good. And then now I smooth the buccal and the lingual and the mesial here. strong. I'm holding control, and then I'm holding shift to change the size. So I'm just shaping it. And you can see how much you need to shape actually from here, from the inside. You can see I'm going to reduce a lot of that because otherwise there's too much soft tissue pressure in that area, and then there's going to be too much soft tissue pressure in this area as well. So still smoothing. I'm going to go a smaller one. No, I'm going to go back bigger. See, that's looking a little bit better now. Because I don't want to have too much pressure on the gingiva. Okay, that's looking good. See this part here, let me check. I think cusps is what I tend to use. Good, that's looking nice. And then alternatively, I smooth it. So I smooth it here, and then there. See how that's a little quite dramatic? I'll fix that in a bit. So I'm going to add it's not too bad actually. Drag that out. Yep. And then we're going to deal with the adjacents actually. Let me just parts was the wrong one. Just making it look more like a tooth. And then often, so here, I'm just going to add after you add, you always want to just touch up with the smooth. And then the last, so I'm pretty happy with the overall anatomy of this tooth. It's not too bad. Yep. The last thing we deal with is always going to be the adjacents. So the adjacents, distance to adjacents, my rule is going to be, if you're going to glaze, do a nice level of glaze, and I'm going to do 0.15. But, sorry, before we do that, we need to exclude selected parts. So we need to exclude the mesial and distal. See, this mesial is way too big. and then invert, and then we've set the distance, and we press all. Oops, no, shit. So, sorry, we need to select the relevant parts again, and then we press invert. So we're excluding these parts when we cut 0.015. You can see here. No, that doesn't look like 0.015. 0.02, sure. Let's cut again. You can see, yeah, that's looking better to me. Let's go 0.02. 0.03 is the rule, but I want to be a little more aggressive. And now you can see we still need to. Can you see how there's a bump? So we still need to come back, and we need to smooth. And then what will happen is, can you still see that there is going to be still a slight undercut in this area? So you still have to smooth this down. Otherwise you won't be able to seat the crown. Okay, now particularly on this side I'm going to just be quite aggressive with the smoothing. Just cleaning this area up. Good. It's a lot of work. So just, yeah. Okay. Can you see how there's still going to be an undercut? I think measly, yeah. So we just want to smooth this whole area down. Otherwise you're going to struggle to seat the crown. And probably a little bit here. Let's have a look. See how that doesn't look? It's been smoothed away, but it's not the cleanest that that we've been given. Just gonna smooth. There we go. That looks a little better. But you're gonna notice that the proximals will be over contoured because of the smoothing. So can you see here? So now we need to do adjacent, this exclusion again. And then the other side, just okay, so I'm worried here that we've over. So we need to add here. Let me add to the contact before we remove it. Can you see that? And then now again we exclude, invert, and then cut. And hopefully we have a somewhat workable crown. So I don't want to remove too much. See how here I want to smooth that a little bit still here. And then yeah, see how there's a bit of a gap here? I think that's pretty good. Yeah, there's a bit of contact there. Okay. So do a nice, I'll tell you what, I want to just increase this area. A little bit. Good. That area is fine. Now, when we increase like that, we have to always do the adjacent adjustment again. If you have a look at it through here, can you see how that's too much? So, adjacents, exclude selected, click on it, invert, and cut. Okay, good. And then that should look much better from the top down. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to save it. And we're done designing this crown. This is going to be ready to mill. Press next. Always here, no protect. It otherwise that makes the occlusion a little bit funny. Does that look a little bit funny? See how the ridges? Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna smooth that a bit, and you can fix that in the green stage. Actually, it's going to be much easier to do here. Okay, good. Next, I'll make sure the distal is still, yeah, good. No protect, and then press next. You can see how that's still a bit high. Let's go back. You always find something wrong. As you see here. Just gonna smooth. But you have to be careful not to affect the adjacent, right? So I'm going to use the ridge tool to bring it down. Okay. And then whenever you play around, you have to check the mesial now. It didn't affect it too much, but we still need to see how it's affected it just a little. So we go adjacents, exclude, distance to adjacent is going to be 0.2. Still got to click on these parts. Then we invert, and then we cut. Get rid of those parts. Good. See how just going to leave it as is. Here, I'm just going to, I didn't like how it was coming up, so I'm going to just remove those two sections. So yeah, that's too strong. A little bit of contact is going to be okay. Now, can you see this? You may have to adjust this area as you're inserting, but maybe not. It's very bumpy, so I don't want to. Yeah, but I don't want to go adjusting the adjacents again because it made it really ugly. So. At this point, we're going to call it good and finish. No protect. Override file. And then I'm going to save to the nesting. Okay.